Hi, welcome back. While I wait for my sunblock to completely soak in, this is what I'm using. It's the Nivea UV Super Water Gel in 50 SPF. You know I'm a fan of Korean, Japanese, Australian sunblocks. They are superior. Today we're gonna do something a little bit different. I'm going to do my makeup and I'm going to teach you about my makeup. I'm going to explain to you why I teach makeup and the application the way that I do. I'm sure you've noticed it might be a little bit different than the ways that you see it taught often, and there's a reason behind that. There is so much science and so much education that goes into the formulation of our beauty products. I'm definitely not smart enough to be on that side of the operations. Hopefully you can relate to me when I say, as I've gotten older and my skin has changed and matured and things have lost volume, spots have appeared that weren't there in my 20s, I've started to really want and desire to have a makeup product and have a makeup application that enhanced my skin without covering me up and changing the way that I looked. I wanted to have skin but better. Because I started thinking that way and really looking into the type of products that I was going to be using on my face as far as formulations and what was more hydrating for mature skin, what helped with aging, stuff like that made me realize if there's so much importance that's put into the formulation that we're putting on our face, why are we not paying more attention to the anatomy of our face? And that's why I started to really focus on anatomy first and makeup second. It led me to thinking more about dividing my face into two zones, the areas that have more muscle movement and the areas that don't. If I looked at my face like that, I could be able to apply the right kind of cream product, because cream product is far better for mature skin than anything else is. But I could apply the product to the right zone and be able to really achieve a skin but better application. I really like this because it's a serum, which serums are more typically designed for skincare. So it's skincare first, makeup second, which kind of goes along the same line of when I talk about anatomy first, makeup second. But you can see like it's not covering, it's just giving a really soft balance to this area. And I won't really need to build a lot of layers. I can do just a little bit of color correcting to get me that like flawless looking straight from a facial skin. Also, the shade that I used is type 2 and it's light. You guys have seen me use Jones Road in this area before, the What the foundation, and I do really like that product. I have found though for a lot of women it might be a little bit oily. This one does not have oil left over, and what I like about it, I don't have to stir it. You have to stir the What the foundation together every single time before you use it. I have high hopes that they will fix that formulation, but for now you do have to stir it. This you don't, and it still gives you that same skin but better glow without the oil, and it's got really great ingredients in it like vitamin C, olive squalene, aloe vera. It's just a really great natural finish but skin forward. Keeping in my areas of my face with lower muscle movement, they can support a cream product that does have more opacity, meaning it has more coverage to it. I do like to work in bronzers because they're not as much coverage as you would with contours and other products. I keep it as light as possible and as less opacity as possible. Start with my Bella bronzer, and I keep it just like up around my forehead. I just work that all the way through. And the reason I like creams is because they're easy. Like, you don't have to be professional to be good with creams. To look like you're a professional, you don't. And that's the best part. They melt on your skin, they move on your skin, they give you a lot of leeway to be able to move them, and that's the best part because most of us are not makeup professionals to begin with. Switching to my tan lines, I'm going to keep tan lines more on top of my areas of my face that have that melasma or hyperpigmentation. If you have bronzers that pull out your hyperpigmentation and enhance it, it's probably because you need to be using two different bronzers. And the reason for that is some bronzers are going to look bad on colors of hyperpigmentation. So using two can give you, like, you can't really tell that there's a difference between this color and this color. And that's because that hyperpigmentation isn't being enhanced. But if I were to put Bella on there, it would definitely pull through and look muddy or murky. So pay attention to that if that's happening to you. Keeping the tan lines down here along the bottom, I'm only going to add color where color's missing. So you see how this is quite a bit lighter in this area, and I have a lot of that hyperpigmentation in the back here. I'm just gonna bring in color into this area and then softly blend it back into that so it just becomes one balanced color tone on my face. See how much more pretty that looks, how much skin but better, and it's just balanced. Same thing over here. Now I do want to add a little bit of structure, which would be typically where a lot of women will contour out pretty heavily. I don't want heavy contour, I want natural contour, so I'm going to use my NR. And I'm going to just focus on where I would naturally have shadow, so I'm giving that lift. If you want a contour to do the same thing, they will. I would use indigo or possibly olive. I can color match you to help you know which one will give you this natural looking structure and not be like snatched out. I'm just getting a little bit of lift just by bringing in where my natural shadow is. I'm just working in the areas of low muscle movement and adding products that are cream based, and they might have more opacity, meaning they have more coverage to them than the other products that we're going to use for our under eyes or blemishes. Still working in the enhancing stage, I'm going to add in a little bit of pink to my cheeks, and you will see that I will have some discoloration that will pop through. I will take care of that in the very end with some of my demi color correcting, but for now I'm just going to enhance and add the color and correct at the end. This side is where I will pop out the most. You can see that popping out. Because I'm looking at my face in a little bit different way, a little bit more anatomy focused, and I've divided it into two areas, high moving muscle and low moving muscle, I can then look at the makeup products and pick what is the right product for the right area. So low moving muscles can have full coverage products. Full coverage also means 100% opacity. Full coverage products can go in the areas of my face that move the least. When I'm looking at the areas of my face that move the most, that's what we're going to do next. Under eyes and around the mouth, and noses typically have a lot of texture. Texture is movement. So we're going to treat texture the same way that we do high muscle moving areas. One of the things that I'm most known for is when I teach about the eye area and I refer to it as a sphincter muscle. It is a sphincter muscle. While it's not exactly the same as a butthole, it is known as the sphincter muscle of the eyelids. You also have a sphincter muscle around your mouth. That muscle moves circumventually, which means that it just has this type of movement. It's tight, it's strong, and it's also the most delicate skin on your face. Don't get frustrated when your concealer creases. It's not you. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't have bad product. The problem is you put a product on an area that has too strong of a muscle movement in correlation to the most delicate skin on your face. The way to get around this is to be using demi color. When I color match my clients, they typically have anywhere between 2 to 4 demi colors in their compact. The best way to do this is to look at your under eyes and pick the darkest area first. Then you're going to use the most pigmented color that I picked for you in order to filter it away. For me, what you see here, I have this dark area here and this dark area here. Those are my darkest. You can have darker under eyes than I do, but the application is the same. It's just that I picked different colors for you. You're going to apply it the same way that I apply it. You're just going to use the colors that I picked. Color for me in that area is kind of in this blue violet-y tone. It's not super, super dark. It kind of falls in the middle. So I'm gonna go across the color wheel into these oranges. So what I'm going to use is 01, and I'm going to use the spot brush, and I'm going to put the color just where that darkness is. I'm not gonna go outside of the line at all. You want to be very light-handed and focus just on the dark area, working around your eyes. I will flip-flop back and forth between both of my eyes and take away each of the darkest areas as I move, and that will make me be putting less product on. This is so easy if you just give it a second and look at the colors. You don't need to know all of it. I'm going to pick it for you and send you the colors that you need for your under eyes. And those are the only ones you need to know. You don't need to worry about the rest of it because you're only doing your face. So I've got that color deleted. I'm going to work again back and forth to get these other spots that are the same tone. So I'm just going to keep the spot brush and go right into that inner corner to get rid of that darkness. And the same thing over here. Next up for me, I have a divot, which is like, I call it the water trough. Mine changes from lack of sleep or stress. It can be darker or lighter. Today, it kind of feels like it's more on the lighter side. It's kind of a bluish green color. So I'm going to use another product, another Demi product, and I'm going to use R01, which means it's a red-orange one. 1 means that it's the lightest of the pigments. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they go up in numbers, and that's the levels of how pigmented they are. You can see I'm just keeping the color right into the water trough, so I'm deleting it and lifting it away to get that beautiful smooth under eye, but it's just really looking like skin, but better. And that's what's gonna keep me from creasing. The lack of extensive amount of product, the right pigment where it needs to be, and it's such a small amount, not all over the under eyes, because if I put product all over the under eyes, it's going to crease. It's a sphincter muscle. Okay, same thing on here. I'm gonna work right into that water trough with the tiniest amount of product. Okay, hopefully that gives you a really good view. You could still see skin, it just is filtered skin. So it just looks better. Next, I'm going to use the bright brush, and I'm going to be working with 03 for this part of my application, because all I'm going to do is go through the areas on my blush and into some of the bronzing that the color has popped through. It looks a lot darker violet, so I'm going to use an 03 higher pigment to just filter it away. And all I'm going to do is really just go through and just touch the spots as I work around to just delete them off. By taking away each of these little spots that kind of pop out and bug me, it'll just balance out everything, making my skin really look like amazing facial skin. Where it's a little bit lower out of that cheek area, I'm going to use that NR again, which is the neutral red. It's what I used to kind of add a little bit of structure here. All I'm going to do is take it lightly between those two areas and add it in there to just balance it out. Adding color where the color is missing. I do have a couple little blemishes on my forehead, and I'm going to just use that same 03 to just filter them away. Now, a blemish is texture. You're never going to get rid of texture, meaning the bump, but you can filter away the color, which will draw the eye away from it. And it's going to work best by using Demi color, because Demi doesn't enhance any texture. But if you put a full coverage product on there, it will enhance texture and make it appear bigger and more bothersome. So when we talk about the high muscle moving areas, most often we're going to have around our eyes, our foreheads have a lot of muscle movement, and then this area of our face as well. Noses don't typically move a lot, but noses usually have a lot of texture because they have millions of pores. So you have to treat texture the same that you would movement. So anything of high texture needs Demi color, period. It's the easiest way to remember it. Anything in low movement can have anything. You can have high or full coverage products, you can have Demi color, you could have 50% opacity products, anything you want in low moving areas, but high moving areas must have Demi color. So next for me, I'm gonna finish off with my nose, and that will be, I'll touch my lips up a little bit as well. But on my nose, I'm going to use 05, which is this orange color in here. And I'm going to use that in order to enhance and add almost like a bronzy sort of glow to my face. without having a product that has full opacity or full coverage. I'm going to get just a little bit of that. I'm going to bring it on the side of my nose because I have a lot of like bluish undertone to my skin. So if I use this orange, and I got a little bit too much, so I'm going to just kind of move it to this side as well and just really fade it out so that I don't have as much pigment. I did touch it in there a bit too heavily. I am going to fade it into my blush as well, just so that it all just gives that sun-kissed balanced look. Definitely did not mean to get that much, but I think I fixed it. Then I'm going to go back to my NR and give the tip of my nose a little bit of shadow. Same color, the NR, and I'm just going to get a little bit of a shadow to the top of my nose so it's a little bit more shaped and detailed. I don't love my nose, so it's definitely something I put a little bit more effort into. It's not my favorite feature. We all have something that we don't really like, so I like to put a little bit of more effort into my nose than pretty much anything else on my face. So if you have an area on your face that you don't like and you want a little bit more extra advice on how to take care of it, I can help you with that as well. Because we all do. Like, I'm not gonna pretend that we don't. We all have something that we don't like. And I'm not telling you have to love what you don't like. I'll help you put a little bit more extra effort into it. But your skin is beautiful. Like, even when we take away the things that drive you crazy about it, your skin is beautiful. Okay, so I feel a lot better about that. You can't see that there's contour. I've just kind of given it a little bit of shape, enhancing the shadow so that it doesn't drive me crazy as much as it normally would. Last thing I'm going to do is my lips, and I'm really just going to, again, shadow them out a little bit, but I'm not going to put contour on the outside of my lips. I do have a little bit of lip filler, but what I do like about my lips is the natural shadowing that is on them. It's just not everywhere, so I want to balance that out, and I'm going to do it again with the NR, and I look at my lips. Sometimes my lips are kind of they're just like dead, chronically frozen lips, okay? I'm always cold, so I think they just portray that. But I do like the darkness of the purpley that's down in this area, but it's not up here. So I'm gonna take the bright brush and I'm gonna kind of tilt it so it's kind of working in this area, and I'm going to just add that where it's missing on my lips. Didn't even have to add anything down here because it just kind of connected together and added that balance that it was missing. I will also add a little bit under my eyes just to kind of sculpt that out as well and just add that enhancement of shadow. The only thing that is not in my compact is my Fenty Sweet Mouth Beauty Gloss. You guys know I love this one. That's all I have that's not inside of my compact. This is it. To finish myself off with just a touch more glow, I like the balm. It's clear, it adds the perfect amount of sheen to my makeup that gives me that Korean glass skin or the straight from a facial rich bitch aesthetic, whatever you wanna call it. It just gives that extra glow. And I just go and I add it into areas where I want a tiny bit more. I know my nose is already naturally going to add more sheen as the day goes on, so I will avoid that, but my cheekbones can always take a little bit more. Isn't that pretty? No shimmer. We are mature women. We don't need glitter on our faces. It's just the perfect amount. Even when I don't put any makeup on at all, I always add balm so my skin just looks like glass. You can take it to the top of your Cupid's bow, the inner corner of my eyes. Always like it on my high brow bone. I do have a couple of my favorite eyeshadows in my compact, but I don't really feel like I want those on today, but they're there if I want them. This entire system is my whole face of makeup. And because we put science first and we picked products like cream-based quality products for mature skin, and then we evaluated the anatomy of our faces, putting anatomy first and makeup second, we're able to create a very undetectable makeup finish that just enhances you, and it makes your skin glow and your skin be the show, not the makeup. You are the prize, girl. If this interests you and you want to think of your makeup in a different way, I offer free color consultations. They're virtual. It takes you 2 minutes. You'll get a match back for a compact just like mine, but built for you, and you'll get it back within 24 to 48 hours. Plus, you have the ability to work one-on-one with me via my VIP chat line, where I can help you get your placement down and help you achieve straight from a facial rich bitch makeup. Hope you guys follow and get a color match. I'll see you guys back here next time. Bye.